They say the people closest to you can do the most damage. But what if they're not just close? What if they're legally next of kin? Let me ask you something. If you woke up from surgery, groggy, stitched up in pain, and your wife leaned over you and whispered, "Just sign this for the insurance," would you question it? Would you even be able to? I didn't, couldn't, and that mistake nearly cost me everything I own, and almost my name. She forged my signature. But what she didn't know, what no one realized, is that there was a clause buried in fine print, something even I had forgotten about. And when I found that will in the safe, a version that gave her everything I'd worked for, something in my gut twisted. That's not my signature. That's not my decision. That's not my will. And yet, there it was. You want to know how I found out? Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. Because her lawyer's voicemail was still open on her phone, and I heard it, word for word. "We'll file it tonight. He won't notice." But I did notice. And what came next? It was worse than betrayal. What kind of person brings legal documents to your bedside while you're still hooked up to IVs? Apparently, my wife. The night before my spinal surgery, Lena kissed my forehead and whispered, "Don't worry, I'll take care of everything." She looked like an angel standing there, calm, sweet, loving. But there's a difference between taking care of someone and taking advantage of them. I was under for 8 hours. The recovery was brutal. Numb legs, morphine haze. I couldn't even feed myself, let alone read fine print. But Lena was there, always smiling, always watching. 3 days in, she brought me a folder. "Just insurance stuff," she said, laying it on my lap. "Sign here, babe. I've already filled it out. Now tell me, if the person you love hands you a pen while you're barely conscious, do you stop to question them? Or do you just scribble your name and hope for the best?" I think I tried to sign, but I couldn't grip the pen properly. My name looked like a toddler wrote it. I remember that. Barely. She smiled, closed the folder. "That's done," she said. And it was. But not the way I thought. 3 days later, I went looking for my phone charger in the bedroom safe. That's when I found the will. Not the one I wrote. One I'd never seen before. Have you ever read something with your name on it and felt your stomach turn? Because that's what happened when I opened that safe and saw a folder marked Final Will and Testament. David R. Clean, neat, tidy handwriting on the label. But I never labeled it that way. I opened it thinking maybe it was a copy of the original I wrote 5 years ago, the one that left half to my sister Claire, and the rest split between my nephews and the house to Lena. Fair, balanced, intentional. This version, Lena got everything. Bank accounts, real estate, my old truck, even the tiny plot of land I co-owned with my late father upstate. Every single asset. Claire, not even a mention, not one word. And at the bottom, my signature. Full, perfect, flawless. Only problem? I didn't sign it. Couldn't have. Not on that date. I was barely breathing, much less holding a pen. I flipped the page again. No Whitney signatures. No notari. Just mine. Like it appeared out of thin air. But here's the kicker. The wording, the formatting, it wasn't mine. I don't write like that. Phrases like bequeath and aforementioned holdings? That's not my voice. It felt like someone wearing a mask of me on paper. So I did what any sane person would do. I started digging. And that's when Lena's phone slipped up. Because sometimes, the truth comes from someone else's voicemail. Ever hear your name in a room you weren't supposed to be in? Now imagine hearing it, coming from your wife's phone, on speaker, in her voice mailbox. It happened 2 days after I found the fake will. Lena had gone for a quick Target run. Left her phone charging on the kitchen counter. Normally, I wouldn't touch it. I respected privacy. But then it lit up. Voicemail playing. Speaker already on. And the first words? "Hey Lena, it's Kelman. We'll file it tonight. He won't notice. The signature's clean. Digital backups embedded. Just destroy the originals." My chest went cold. Kelman, that was the name on the footer of the fake will. Her lawyer. The guy she once said handled her taxes and boring stuff. But he knew my name. Knew about the signature. Knew about the filing. I froze. Didn't move. Just let the voicemail play out, heart thudding in my ears. Then it ended. And a second one began, a follow-up. Callback. Hey again. Just a heads up. His sister might still have an old copy. That could cause trouble if she talks. Let me know if she needs silencing. Silencing? I saved the voicemails. All of them. And that night I called Claire. I didn't tell her what I'd found. I just asked, "Do you still have a copy of my old will?" She paused. Then said, "Yes, and I think Lena's trying to bury it." That's when I realized. Lena hadn't made a mistake. She'd made a plan. It's funny. The devil isn't always in the details. Sometimes the salvation is. Claire showed up the next morning with a worn manila folder. My real will. The one I typed up myself years ago, sitting in my garage office with a cheap fan and a glass of bourbon. We laid both versions side by side on my kitchen table. And that's when she saw it. Right there in paragraph 4, buried between estate provisions and healthcare power of attorney, was a line I forgot I even wrote. Any future amendments or rewritten versions of this must be notarized and signed in the presence of 2 legal witnesses, or else shall be considered null and void. Boom. Lena's version had none of that. No notary stamp. No witnesses. Just a digital signature, and a date that matched the week I was doped up and barely conscious. Claire looked up at me and said, "This whole thing's a bluff. It's not legal. Not even close." I started laughing. Then I stopped, because I realized this wasn't over. I still needed to catch her in it. Proof alone wasn't enough. So I sent Lena a message. "Hey, the bank says something's off with that document you had me sign. Want to explain?" Her reply, "Don't worry. They won't figure it out. Kelman said it's airtight." I saved the message. The next morning, she was gone. And so was $5,000 from my emergency account. But what she didn't know, Kelman called back. And this time he called me. Kelman didn't know Lena ran. Not yet. When I answered his call, he jumped right in. "Hey, Lena said you were on board with everything. Just wanted to confirm for the filing." I played dumb. "Filing what?" He paused. That's when I said, "By the way, I heard your voicemails. Both of them. And I've got the original will. With witnesses. And notarization." Silence. Then, "This is a misunderstanding, Mr. R. I was just following my client's instructions." Click. I hung up. Because now he was scared. I handed everything to a friend of mine, a retired legal clerk who still knew the right people. The signatures, the call logs, the metadata from the digital files, Claire's copy, the texts. Lena was picked up 4 days later trying to cross state lines under a fake name. Claimed she was traveling to clear her head. She's facing charges for fraud, identity theft, and conspiracy. Kelman? He's now cooperating. I changed the locks, installed cameras, burned the fake will. You trust someone with your life. They try to steal your death. Remember this, even if someone forges your signature, they can't fake what they didn't bother reading. And one forgotten clause? It brought everything down. Comment below if you've ever trusted the wrong person. And hit like if you think karma came through this time.